Okay, so this is the Fiskars Pro Builders Knife Plus Sharpener review, and I just got this tonight. If you watch my previous upload, I started doing an unboxing video, like a preliminary unboxing, and talk about having ordered this new knife. And then in the middle of it, I realized, looking at the laptop screen I was using, that the video quality was too grainy. On my laptop, I think the camera is 480p, and it's a little bit too low, especially under certain lighting conditions. In the middle of the day, you have natural sunlight coming through the window, so super strong lighting. It can make it good enough. But when I use the built-in app on Windows 10, the camera app, it's almost like it limits it. If I use StreamYard, the video quality is better. But if I use the built-in camera app on my laptop, for whatever reason, the video quality is grainy and not good. So I've decided to finish up and make a take two, part two, where I'm using my Samsung A20 phone, which has a crystal clear video camera and also super good audio, and that's better for doing videos like this where you're showing something on screen. I got Canon beads here. If I would use the other camera and I held it up like this and I want to show you the fine print at the back, it wouldn't be clear enough for you to see it. But with this Samsung A20, you can see it. So this is the Fiskars Pro Builders Knife Plus Sharpener. First impressions. It has a hard plastic sheath. And you know what? I'll check Amazon again. I have my other phone here. I'm gonna check Amazon again and give you some stats about the knife. And possibly I will include a link to the product on Amazon. So let's read some stats here, briefly. I already did that in my previous video. I'll read off the product overview stats. Brand, translated from Swedish. Brand, Fiskars. Model name, Stay Sharp. Included components, construction knife with sharpener. Color, black, and that's obviously the handle, not the blade. Style, construction knife. Article measurements. Length, breadth, height. LBH, 25.7 times 20.8 times 27.2 centimeters. Article weight 0.1 kilograms. And this cost me 98.4 Swedish crowns. If you want to know how much 98.4 Swedish crowns is, you can search like the 0.4, that's like cents. So if you want to know what 98 exactly, how much 98 crowns is in US dollars, you can type in 98 SEK Sierra Echo Kilo SEK. I think I'm saying clear enough so you can hear what I'm saying. If you want to know exactly what 98 crowns is in US dollars, you can type in 98 SEK to USD on Google, and it will tell you exactly how much it is. But I can give you the approximate estimate, and it's 98 crowns equals roughly $10. So this would be $9.99, that price range, $9.99 US dollars, or 980, something like this. So 100 Swedish crowns roughly equals 10 US dollars. So it's easy to calculate. Now if you would be in like the stock market and it's super precise, then you might want to go check it out. But approximately it's 10 US dollars equals roughly 100 Swedish crowns. So it's times 10. A US dollar is worth 10 times as much. $10 equals 100 crowns. $1 equals 10 crowns. 10 crowns equals $1. So if you see 10 in Swedish money, that's you remove 10 and it's $1. Yeah, so this cost me 98.4 crowns, and that's all it cost me because I have Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, on this item, at least in Sweden, they have next day delivery. If you have the Prime subscription, next day free delivery. And I'm looking now and it says free delivery. So if I wanted to order another one right now, I just got this delivered less than 1 hour ago, and by AirMe. Amazon uses AirMe for home deliveries in Sweden. They have other companies too. You can Amazon can ship it with the Swedish post office to PostNord. But I use AirMe to get the home delivery. And I ordered this yesterday, and I got it delivered today for less than $10. So for the price, very good. And if I wanted another one, if I order one right now, order within 52 minutes. Let's refresh the page, because it said 52 minutes when I was there. Yeah, now it says 35. Yeah, I refreshed the page. Free delivery tomorrow, 22nd March. Order within 35 minutes. So if I were to order within 35 minutes, another one, I will get it delivered tomorrow for $10. So I could buy a second one of these for $10 and have it delivered to me tomorrow if I ordered it within place order within 35 minutes, which is very good. $10. So that's it for the stats, and now let's look at the knife. And it has this plastic locking mechanism here, plastic lock, and I guess this is for the when they have this in a department store, not an online store. If they have knives, like in a fisherman's store, fishing store, or camping store, or a utility store, whatever, wherever store stocks this knife, they can hang it, and they won't have to worry about people going just pulling the knife out of the sheath. If they would hang it on the belt loop, for example, and people could just go pull a knife out. So they have this plastic lock on it, and it has the scissor symbol on it. And I'm gonna use my other Fiskars knife, the Fiskars K40, which I've done reviews on before. I like Fiskars knives, plural. This is the Fiskars K40, and I really like this knife. Now, this cost me also around $10. I bought two of these. I bought two of these Fiskars K40 knives, and I really like them. I would say that it's one of my favorite knives. Out of all the utility knives that I bought, I have to say that this is most likely the favorite utility knife that I had. I had a hardhead utility knife, and the only thing that I like more about that than the Fiskars K40 is the sheath. It has this type of sheath on it. This sheath. The same sheath that Fiskars has on this knife, the Fiskars Pro Builders Knife. The hardhead utility knife had this type of belt loop, so I could just I could put it on my plate carrier, for example, or even in sweatpants. You can put it in your waistline. Anything. It gives you many carrying options. You don't have to have a belt to be able to use to be able to attach the knife to for a convenient carry. Yeah, so the hardhead knife is like maybe the second favorite. I like the hardhead knife. I use that for a do-it-yourself product, a homemade spear. I have that on my channel, on this Mike's Martial Arts channel, do-it-yourself spear, and I use the hardhead utility knife. Once I bought the Fiskars K40, I thought, okay, I have two good utility knives. I bought two of them. And I like them more than the hardhead utility knife, which is roughly in the same price range as the Fiskars. And since I like the Fiskars K40 knives and I have utility knives now, I thought, okay, I don't need this anymore. So let's use a reduced-self product, and I did a homemade spear out of it. And if you want to see me making that, I have a video instructional, do-it-yourself homemade spear, on this Mike's Martial Arts channel, showing how I made this homemade spear. With the so I used the hardhead utility knife for that. It has custom jimping. I did this jimping myself here, and I've tested this. It holds up. I've been stabbing. If you wonder about the bed in the background, that's my training bed. So I use this for training. Sometimes I hang a jacket here, and I use it to train baton strikes, stick fighting training. Sometimes I've hung a do-it-yourself punching bag here. So this is like my training rig, my home training rig. And these boards are really beat up. I've kicked them with steel-toe shoes. I've stabbed them with all kinds of different weapons. I've hit them with do-it-yourself trench club. I've stabbed them with the cold steel FGX Wasp. I've stabbed them with the hardhead utility knife. The boards have been stabbed with spears, training knives. These round indentations are from a hard plastic knife before it finally broke. So yeah, I've tested this, and I'm sure that it holds up. And I have a tutorial how to make a do-it-yourself homemade spear using cheap and readily available materials. And this is basically a broomstick. You can go watch the video if you want to see how I did it, and it took less than 30 minutes to make it. And all I used was a cheap utility knife, carpenter utility type knife, construction type knife, and duct tape and hot glue. That's all I used for this. And a broomstick, like a cheap broomstick. And to test it, to make sure that it would be a functional weapon and wouldn't break if I stab somebody. Like this is a whole good home defense weapon. You can stab somebody with it. And to make sure that it wouldn't break if you hit somebody in the skull bone. Like if you're using it as a self-defense, home defense weapon, you want to make sure that you can't just stab it once and it falls off. So it's like a one-time only weapon. And I've tested it by stabbing these hardwood boards pretty hard. And as you can hear and see, it holds up. And I have to wiggle it out because it really gets in there. This is dense wood. So that's one. Let's do another one. I did it from this angle, horizontal angle. And now I'll do it this angle. And as you can see, it's holding up. And I've even done this with it, used it to cut, as you can do with a spear. And you can see, I don't know if you can see that from over there, but it's a cut here, and it's holding up. So you can cut with this. And let's show you that actually, with the spear back. Here, this is from the spear. Right now, see where the camera is. Okay, the camera is on this side, so I know how to aim it. So this is from now, the spear. These are from the slashes with the spear, which shows that it holds up. If you make a spear like this, if you don't make it right, it might hold up if you hit it straight on, like stab with it, but it could break if you hit it from the side like this. You put a different type of pressure on it, like pulling pressure to the side. And I've tested it. So see, these are cuts. These are cuts. This could be cut. If it can do this rub breaking, it could deliver cuts to the forehead of a human being. Rub breaking. And these are the stabs. This is the stab. This is one stab from the spear. This is one stab from the spear, I would think. And these definitely are the slashes that I just did, kind of with it. And as you can see, it's pretty. It's not even a sharp knife. It's just you generate a lot of force. You have a lot of leverage with that spear to generate force. It's not even sharp. The knife isn't even sharp. And it's cutting. It's getting in there. You can see one cut here, went down there, cut one, went all the way down here. This is the same cut. Here, here, here. Here's a second cut. Here, here, and it went all the way down here. See, this is one cut. Connected here, slid down here, slicing all the way, and then cut into there. This is from the cold steel FGX Wasp, which is another knife that I really like. The cold steel FGX Wasp. So these are from the cold steel FGX Wasp. That's another knife that I like, and I call it a plastic knife, which might not be the most accurate term because it's not just normal plastic. It's a special polyresin, possibly some kind of resin, some kind of fiberglass reinforced plastic type material, but in short you can call that plastic knife. And I've put that through the ringer. I've stabbed the metal. I have a video on my channel, short, where I stabbed the metal rated with it as a penetration test on metal. No problem, didn't break. And I've stabbed hardwood boards, like only these holes. All of these, they look like diamonds. If you look at them, they're diamond shaped. These are from the cold steel FGX Wasp knife. and I stabbed them with the reverse grip and really whacked it hard here, and it's not breaking. From all kinds of different angles, like from the side like this, hitting, like hammer fisting it with this grip, the reverse grip, and I've also stabbed. These are from the hard plastic knife. These round indentations are from a hard plastic knife. It doesn't have a sharp tip, it's just round at the end. And I've used this to practice my grip, to make sure I'm gripping the knife right. And for training is stabbing something with resistance. Like if you train knife martial arts, you don't want to only do shadow box where you hit in the air and you feel like, wow, I'm getting pretty good at this. And then if you need to use your knife skills in self-defense and you hit somebody, like, oh, the knife falls out of your hand because you never learn how to grip it right. So that can be good, to actually stab hard things with a hard plastic or wood training knife or a blunt steel training knife or something. But be careful, because you can injure yourself. There's vibrations going up into your wrist, up your fingers, through your hands, up your wrists. So you don't want to start whacking it wildly the first time you try it and then, oops, I broke my wrist or something. You need to have the physical requirements to be able to whack it hard without injuring yourself. And I will get sore sometimes in the wrist if I do many times. I'm not breaking anything, but sometimes if I do like 30 stabs hard with a trading knife or an actual knife, I will have a sore wrist for a few days, 1 or 2 days sometimes. So yeah, it's not something you want to do every day, because you're gonna wear down your body and you don't want to injure yourself in training. The purpose of training is getting better, not injuring yourself so you'll be worse at fighting. Yeah, I used to, I'm training martial arts to get better at knife martial arts, fighting and defending myself with a knife. And the way I train is like, oh yeah, I broke my wrist, I wore down my wrist somehow, so now I can't stab with my right. I can't use my right hand anymore to fight with knives, only the left. Then your training didn't make you better at fighting with knives, it made you worse. So I'm all for safe training practices. Now, nothing's 100% safe, and I do some things that might look reckless and risky, but I've had a lot of experience. Some things that I do, that's why I have the don't try this at home on my bio. Some things that I do, I don't recommend somebody else to try unless they're experienced. And even if you're experienced, it's not 100% safe. You could still get hurt. Like if I use a real knife, a steel knife, not a train knife, and I stab here, there is a small chance, if I don't grip it right, that my hand can slide down the handle and I can cut myself. That happened to me when I was training with a knife, the hard-head plastic, not the hard-head plastic, the hard-head utility knife that now I have on the spear. And I did a reverse stab. I was stabbing, training on a bookshelf, cutting at the side of it and stabbing. And one time when I did that, it didn't happen on camera. I have a video where I was doing that on camera, but the accident didn't happen on camera. And I had this grip, the reverse grip, and I stabbed it, and then my hands being sweaty, it slid down the handle and I cut myself on the pinky. Could have been worse. And after that, that's part of the reason that I like the hard-head utility knife, because the hard-head utility knife has a more pronounced finger guard that keeps your hand from sliding down the handle if you grip it right. Now, the knife will not do the work for you. If you just loosely hold this knife, if you don't tense it up when you're stabbing, if you just loosely hold this, it's still gonna slide over, but it makes it a lot less likely that if you stab something, that it makes it a lot less likely that your hand is gonna slide down. It makes it harder for your hand to slide down the blade and cut yourself. So that's why I started looking, when I buy knives now, one of the features that I look for is a bigger finger guard and the ergonomics of the handle. And looking at this, the Fiskars K40, looking around on Amazon for a new utility knife, this is what I found and settled for. Yeah, well, not settle as in, well, it sucks, and well, okay, I'll buy it. Settling means you're looking and considering different options, and then you settle on one option, and then that's what you choose. So maybe it is, no, you know what, this is what I'll settle on. Settling that sense of the word. And this one, I have a video with this, using this to stab these woodboards. This grip, hitting at this angle, and at this angle, and then also the reverse knife fighting grip, this, and stabbing with this, putting some force in there, and also like this. And not one time did my hand stay down the handle. If I would have done that with a hard head utility knife that I used to make a do-it-yourself spear, I might have gotten injured there. Because it has like a little small, a very small, only like a little knob or whatever it's called. Just it goes out a little bit, not a lot. 50% as much or more than this. This goes out a full centimeter if you would measure from here at the base of the blade to the point of this. It looks like it's around a centimeter, possibly 0.8, 0.9, but it looks to me, if I would have to guess, it looks like it's 1 centimeter. And the harder utility knife maybe went out 0.5 or 0.4, 0.3 or something, around half as much. And the handle of this knife is very good, ergonomic, it sits well in your hand. And at first I thought I didn't like the texture of the grip because it felt slippery, but with experience, even having sweaty hands and using this to stab with, it doesn't get slippery. So I don't know if there's pores, like small pores in it or something, if it's some kind of special plastic that makes you be able to grip it. It feels like if you hold it loose, it feels like it's a little bit slippery. Not super slippery, but it feels like it's not like a texture grip or something. But when I started using it, it holds up. So I really like this knife, and this used to cost around the same price as this on Amazon. It used to be around $10, and I see that they increased the price from around 100 Swedish crowns to 230 or 240 crowns. So I should have bought another one before they increased the prices again. And I bought 2 of these. And one of them, after stabbing those wood boards really hard, 15, 20, maybe even 30 times, somewhere around there, it did bend. But that's not saying anything wrong about the knife. That doesn't mean that it's a bad knife. It's not made for they don't market it as a knife that you can use to stab hardwood trees repeatedly. They don't market it for that. Stabbing knife, wood stabbing knife, they market it as a utility knife that they use to cut a good camping or fishing knife. It actually floats. If I will go fishing, I drop this in the water as I'm skinning something or whatever I'm doing. If I'm cutting up a fish on the boat, whatever you're doing on the boat when you're fishing, holding a knife, you drop it. Not only does it float, it has this orange tip at the end of it, which makes it easy to see it. If it floats around the water, even at night, low light conditions, if you have a flashlight, this will light up a little bit. Especially if you have a UV flashlight, it will light up like nothing else. It looks like it's neon if this floats in the water. If it floats tip up, and if it goes around like this, it's easy to see it if you have a UV flashlight and you're looking for it. So that's a cool feature. And every blade has its limits. It's like even the most strong blade, if you would hit it hard enough times at all types of different angles, eventually it's going to bend. And when it did bend, it didn't bend from stabbing a wood board cleanly. It did bend when one of the boards split, and then it creates like a little groove in there. And then the knife, and it's not even, so it would be like this. The groove is maybe like this, like at an angle. So if the blade comes in, even if it comes in straight, the groove, the way that the board was cut, broken, it's going to like guide the blade, and the force is going to go this way, which means it's going to want to bend it. How do you describe that? It would be like if you have if you have something like this, a wood board, and it's like this, it's split, but it's still tied together. If you would stab it exactly straight, and the groove is exactly straight, then it might break it, but it's going to go cleanly through. If it's a little bit like this, at this angle, and you stab it straight, and it goes in, now it's going to create bending force. This part is going to push the blade down, and this is going to push it up, and it's going to want to bend the tip. So I realized that's what happened, because I stabbed it into a groove, and that guided the blade and turned the momentum into bending force. So I have no complaints about the knife. Even though the tip bent, that doesn't mean that it's a bad knife. After that happened, it didn't change my perception of the knife to be more negative. Actually, if anything, after I tested that, like hard torture test, stabbing the knife into the hardwood boards repeatedly, and I did it 10, 15, 20, 30 times before it bent, I'm actually, if anything, have a better impression, better. I like the knife more now because I know, okay, you can even stab things like hard wood really hard 10, 15, 20 times without a count on you being able to do that 10, 15, 20 times without it breaking. And possibly I could have done 100 times if I wouldn't hit a groove. There might even be a nail in there or something, I don't know. So, or one of these hard in wood boards, you have these, they look like human eyes. These, I don't know what they call in English, but these hard little, if you look at some wood boards, they have look like an eye, a dark spot in them that are super hard. Could have been something like that, I don't know, I didn't look into it enough. But yeah, this is a really good knife and I still recommend this. It's a good utility fishing knife, camping knife, survival knife, and a good fighting knife. It's light, which translates to speed. You can stab with it. If you can stab a wood board 30 times super hard, then you could stab and penetrate somebody's skull 20, 30 times without it breaking. Actually, it's easier to stab and penetrate a human skull than it is. Like it puts roughly the same amount of force in the blade. So this is my favorite knife right now, my favorite utility knife. I have another knife that I like, a movie knife, but this is my favorite utility knife. And it's a lot better than the hardhead utility knife for what I'm looking for in a knife. And also what I like is, whatever they did with the blade, where the blade is made out of, possibly has a mild steel in the middle and then coated with some hard material. Maybe it's the finish of this is some kind of hard chrome or stainless steel, something harder, but it's not so hard it becomes brittle, because then when it, instead of bending, it would have snapped off the tip and the tip might have flew into my eyes or something. It would have been super hard but brittle. It's like a samurai sword. It's not super hard steel. They don't go with the hardest steel we can get. They have a steel that's soft enough to be able to bend and not shatter, not to break. So you can absorb energy without snapping, breaking off, but still hard enough to cut. And they actually blend it so they have like a spine of it that's soft in the middle, and then the tip and the edge is hard in the middle. Yeah, I'd rather have a knife that bends if there's too much force at the tip of it, then that it snaps off and some piece go flying. Now you don't have a tip anymore, or it bends off. And if this would have bent off, it could have flew into my face. I could have gotten injured. So yeah, okay, let's get to it. Much ado, let's get to it. Still haven't opened this yet. So this is the Fiskars K40. Using that to open the Fiskars Pro Builders Knife plus sharpener. We'll just slide this in here. Use this method. Here you go. And there's some more. Go in here. Here you go. There you go. So we have opened this. I'm gonna put this back in my pocket. Now we put it there. I might need it for reference. So this is the first time I opened this. And it opens, first impression, it's easy to get it out. It's not, you don't have to go like, it's easy to get it out. And it locks in place, which I like. If you look at this, if I would wear this upside down, for whatever reason, it's not falling out. See, it locks in the holster. Now, there might be a limit if I would go like this and like really snap it like a whip, then it might go flying. I'm not gonna try that, but enough. It's I'm applying some force and it's not falling out. It stays in there. It's got this lock system where it locks. Ooh, okay, now I know what the self-sharpener is. It's got a sharpener in here. See? In the sheath. I thought it would be maybe some kind of thing in there, or maybe something here or whatever. But I actually didn't know that the sharpener is within the sheath like this. That's the sharpener. It's got a V sharpener. I call these V-type sharpeners. They might have another name, but I call them V-type sharpeners or V sharpeners because of the shape. Iron sharpened iron. Steel sharpened steel. So when I put this in and pull it out, it's sharpening the knife. That you heard there is the knife being sharpened when I pull it out, which is pretty cool. Let's put it back in again. And I guess you can put your hand here, and as you're pulling it out, you can apply some force as you're pulling it down. So you're kind of pulling it like this. I want to be a little bit gentle so I don't scratch it up too much. It's got a mirror polish, which I like. That's beautiful. I did get a little bit of a scratch on it there because let's do this. I have these cutter soft wipes here. I'm gonna clean it. And the handle. It's got a hollow handle. So that means that it obviously doesn't have a full tang, but the tang goes down to around here, around to here. So the blade goes down around to this part around here, which is enough. Let's see what it feels like. It's got a little bit of a rounder edge. This is a better edge for stabbing, the Fiskars K40. It's a little bit thinner. It's a slightly wider up there. So you get the thickness. Looks like it might be roughly the same thickness. Only the so this is comparing and contrasting the Fiskars K40 to the Fiskars Pro Builders Knife. Let's compare and contrast them. Let's line them up with the handle guards, face to face like this. Let the handle guards kiss each other like this. And this one has a little bit longer handle. The construction knife, a little bit longer handle, maybe half a centimeter. Roughly the same size. This blade is a little bit shorter. The builder's knife has a little bit shorter blade. I don't know why, but this feels like a little bit of a stiffer blade. This feels like it's a little bit stiffer, and this feels like it might be a little more flexible. It could be because of the length, possibly. As you can see, this bends a little bit. Don't do this at home. These are things that you can get into doing. Yeah, for whatever reason, holding it like this, my impression feels like this is a little bit of a stiffer blade, like a little bit stiffer, rigid, a little bit more rigid. And this looks like it's less likely to bend, because if you look at the back of the tip, this is thicker. This is the builder's knife. This is the K40. And the Fiskars Pro Builders Knife, as it's called, it has a little bit thicker of a tip there. You can see the K40, it thins, it's a lot thinner, which makes it better for stabbing. It slides into things like human flesh and different knife martial arts. It will penetrate a little better, and it has a longer blade, which makes it easier to reach vital organs and arteries and stuff in the body. This is a little bit shorter, but it looks like, yeah, it might be less likely to bend. Less likely to bend if you would hit something hard with this. It might be less likely to bend because of the it has more thickness at the back of the tip, the spine of the tip, not the cutting edge. As you can see, it's a little bit thicker. And then look at the side view of them. I like the mirror polish. Now, I must say that I'm not a super fan of the self-sharpening sheath. I would prefer it personally if they would take this sharpening thing out and put it inside the hollow of the handle. Like they could have an end cap for this. Here, you see it's hollow. They could have an end cap. If I was working for the design department or whatever, I would have as an idea, float the idea, that for this knife, let's make a new edition, and you have an end cap at the bottom of it, and that has the sharpener. So you can pull out an end cap, since it's hollow anyway. All you would have to do is construct an end cap that fits in here. Understand? Like an end cap here. And then on the end cap, in the end cap, you could have the sharpener. You could have a V sharpener on it. If you understand what I'm saying. Now the V sharpener is here. The sharpener. They could take the sharpener out, and it wouldn't cost a lot. It wouldn't be a lot of a difference in manufacturing cost for the knife. You could have the same sheath, just sans the V sharpener here, and then you could have an end cap for it that fits inside this hollow here. And you can pull it out, and if you pull it out, it has the V sharpener in the middle, so you can place that on the table and then sharpen it like this. See, that's a good idea actually. They could do that. They could have an end cap for this. I would like it more if it was like that. I'm not saying it sucks now, but personal preference. If I was working on a construction site, I might prefer this right now. I would prefer this. If I was working on a construction site right now, I might prefer it to have it this way, because I'm going around, I'm cutting wood, what I'm doing, and all I gotta do is pull it out and sharpens it a little bit, and I don't have to take a break in the middle of the day, pull out the sharpener, and then okay, I gotta sharpen the knife. If you pull it out, just putting it back in, using it, it will sharpen it, keep it sharp enough, functional sharpness. Just pulling it out of the sheath throughout the day, and putting it back in, you're sharpening it. So yeah, I can see why they did it like that, because it's marketed as a builder's knife, so they make it for people that are using it to build things, not knife martial artists primarily. People are into using knives for self-defense, knife martial arts. But personally, if I could change something about this, for what I look for in this knife, my intended use for the knife, I would think it would be a good idea to have an end cap for this. Since you have the hollow here, you have the hollow blade, I can fit my pink in there. You can make an end cap for it. And you put the end cap on. It could be rubber, whatever. Hard plastic, rubber. And then you open it up. And then you have the sharpener in there. And then you can place it on either hold it in your hands or place it on a table and then pull it out. And then you can hold it like this. You don't want to hold it like this, the sharpener, because you can cut yourself. Also, you want to hold it from above like this, line it up, and then pull it like that. They can do that. So if you're watching Fiskars, that's an idea. I haven't looked at all the knives. I don't know if you have a model that has some kind of a within the handle sharpener. I don't know. I haven't looked at all the knives. I like Fiskars knives. Fiskars get my they get that, like, it's a good knife company. If somebody told me, Mike, I'm looking for a knife, you seem to know a lot about knives and you do knife martial arts, like, do you have any knife recommendations for somebody on a budget? I'll go look at Fiskars knives on Amazon. They have all kinds of different price ranges and affordable, cheap knives that are good despite the low price. So the Fiskars is a knife manufacturer, knife company that I wouldn't mind recommending to somebody for the price range. And what I like about more affordable knives, like I bought these Fiskars K40 when they had a sale on it, and it cost around $10 on Amazon. I bought 2 of them, and one of them I kind of torture tested it and like stabbed the woodboards behind me there a lot of times. Like I said, it bent the tip, and when I bent the tip, I didn't go like, oh, I feel like my heart is broken now. If it would have been like a super expensive knife that cost me $30 or $60 or $90 or more, and it bent when I was doing that, it would have felt bad, because it's like, well, I just lost, so I ruined a $30 knife right there, or $60 or $90. But since I only paid around $10 for it, if something like that happens in training or testing, it's like, well, I paid $10 for it, and I got a lot of good training out of it. I got a lot of videos and training sessions privately out of it, and I cut with it, and I got a lot of enjoyment out of it. I got more fun out of the knife than if I would have paid $10 to go watch a movie for 2 hours. I got more enjoyment and amusement and fun and training and good out of this $10 spent on a knife, being interested in knife martial arts and liking training and stuff. I got more fun out of it, those approximately $10 I paid for the knife before I broke it, than I would have gotten putting $10 on a cinema ticket and go watch the movies for 2-3 hours. So yeah, I'll be rambling on a little bit. I don't have scripts for my videos. It's the Fiskars K40. I like it. And if I see it come back on sale on Amazon around $10 again, I don't remember if it was $12 or $14 or what it was when I bought it, but around $10 on Amazon when I bought it. And I went and checked, and I saw them again for around $24, somewhere around there, and it's a little bit too pricey for a utility knife. I'm on a budget, so in general I don't like spending more than $20 on a knife. I buy knives that are under $20. Yeah, so this is a Fiskars Builders Knife plus sharpener, and the thing is, I can use the sharpener for my Fiskars K40 if I need to. Since I have this knife, I can use this sharpener for all my other Fiskars knives. You might not be able, if I have a longer one, I might not be able to sharpen it all the way to the base. But let's say I have the other knife is a little bit longer, maybe there's half a centimeter at the base of the blade that I can't sharpen because it won't go all the way down. Let's sharpen it a little bit. I might be holding it a little bit off angle because I did scratch the side of the blade there, which is not something I'm crying about. And again, that's not saying something bad about the knife or the design of the sheath. It's hard to sharpen knives without creating some scratches at the edge. What I'm talking about, you can see there, it's a little bit of a scratch. See? Now, people who have a lot of experience using these V sharpeners, and I don't, they might know exactly how to do it, like a trick to it, how to use this without scratching the sides of the blade. Maybe it's okay, make sure you hold it at the right angle and then pull straight down, don't push too much force forward or whatever. There might be a trick to it, how to use this without scratching the sides of the blade. And I'm not very experienced in using V-type sharpeners. I've used the round sharpeners, like diamond sharpeners, industrial diamond sharpeners, the round ones, and they're like a stick, kind of similar to the chef's knives sharpener, like these long ones. Those, I have familiarity with those more than with V sharpeners. So this is the Fiskars K40. No, it's not the Fiskars K40. This is the Fiskars Pro Builders Knife. Now what I'm going to do for you in this video, I am going to do a stab test with it, and I'm going to do some light stabs with the Fiskars K40 too on wood boards. So I'm not going to go wild and do it super hard, but I'm going to use both of these to stab into the hardwood boards over there. And let's do this. Let's do this one at a time. Let's start with the Fiskars K40. My camera is on this side. Okay. Let's do some reverse grip knife stabs. This is a good grip for stabbing. You're supporting. You keep your hand from sliding down the handle with your thumb up here. You grip it like this. So let's do at least 3 stabs here at this angle. See what's a good angle is here. Maybe from the top. No, let's do this actually. Let's do it like this. From below. Like this. Okay. So as you can see, this is a clean area. Around here, there's no there hasn't been any stabs. Now what I'm gonna do actually, I'm gonna get one of my markers. I'm gonna paint the target, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I found the whiteboard marker. I'm gonna paint the targets on here. That's what I'm aiming for. And we'll do 2 of them, and we'll use one target zone for the K40 and one for the builder's knife. So this is make a little bullseye there in the middle. Okay, so this is for the K40, and then we'll do another one here. It's a little bit smaller for the builder. Write Fiskars up here. Alright. And now I'm gonna stand to the side so you get some light up here. If I cover the light, it's hard to see. I'm gonna stand a little bit off center here. Here's the K40, Fiskars K40, and now I will stab with it without bending it. I'm not gonna go too hard. Okay, that's one. And then I'm gonna wiggle it out. You don't want to go like this when you pull it out and put a lot of force in it, especially if you penetrate deeply. You don't want to, when it gets stuck, do this, because that will, the more you bend the blade, that could have been a part of it too. Before, when I used the Fiskars K40, the other one that bent, I can show that to you actually. You can check my profile, my past videos. I can put a link to that. I have it on video when this one bent. And it happened up here somewhere. And I did do in the video, when it got stuck, I did do this. So optimally, if it gets stuck in wood, a pretty good hit actually. Right outside the bullseye. If you get stuck like this, you don't want to go like this to wiggle it out. You want to go like this. Okay, so we got one in. And we'll do one from this angle. Okay, 2, still straight as an arrow. We'll do another one from this angle. I'm throwing from the hip now. And then I missed it. Let's go again, within the circle. Focus, Michael. There you go, 3. Okay, so we had a flyer here in the group. 1, 2, 3, and a flyer up here. Here, right here. That's a flyer, and this is a good 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, then we'll do 3 with the reverse grip, like this. I like to send a line like this, but it covers out the light and creates a shadow. So let's do like this. 1, a little low. 2. Still straight as an arrow. We'll do 3. 3. Do another one. That one hitting the bullseye. Like I said, if you do this, and I don't recommend you do, if you have throwing weapons, throwing stars or axes or knives, whatever you used to throw, that's a quick tip. Like, people are really into stabbing things, wood things with knives. They might already know this, but in case you don't, if I would have thrown that and it got stuck, use a throwing weapon, or you stab something, you don't want it when you're gonna wiggle it out. Sometimes if you get stuck and if it's hard wood, you don't go like this, because then you're bending the blade. There's only so many times you can bend it up and down until you're weakening it. It's like metal, steel gauge wire. You can, if you don't have a clipper, you can break off a piece of steel wire by bending it up and down many times. You're softening it up, make it more malleable. So yeah, okay, that's the K4. Let's do a few quick ones. 1, same hole, exactly same hole, hole in hole, as you can see, and I threw that from the hip. 2. Now I'm stepping back, so I'm standing quite a bit away from it over here. So far it's out of range, I'm gonna have to lean in and or step in. 3, 2, 1. And I seem to be hitting a little bit high and right. See? So let's error correct that. Aim a little bit more low and left. No, I'm still hitting up to the right there. A little better. Yes, bullseye. Okay. Finish strong, so that'll be the last one. So this is the group. We got 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and these we're demonstrating. I did this showing you aiming here on purpose outside the ring and said, if you get stuck like this, don't go like this, to wheel out, go like this. So yeah, this is the group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, because one was holding hole, at least 11. Okay, pause it, and I'm back, and this is the builder's knife, and we'll do the builder's knife now. This is the builder's knife one, and for knife fighting, this is not the best grip. For the reverse grip, since it has a hole in here, but it works. So let's start with some of these. Actually, I'll rotate it like this. Okay, I'm gonna keep this to an hour. It's been going for 52 minutes. I'll keep it to an hour. Okay, so we'll do some stabs from the hip. I'm launching from the hip, and I'll go straight like this. And this has a little bit more of a subtle knob, so I'm gonna take it easy and be careful not to slide down the hand. I'm not gonna go as hard. I'm gonna go light. Okay, so I'm decent on this line. If you draw a line here, there's a little bit off center, but I'm hitting a little bit too low. So let's try again from the hip. Okay, I hit a little bit high, and this time I hit with the side and not the tip. So let's start over. I'm hitting high, which is kind of weird. Let's start over. Okay, there you go. Let's do it like this. Use this grip. Okay, yeah. So 1, 2, error correcting. 1, 2, 3. So when I increase the speed, I seem to be getting more accurate, as you can see. Okay, now we'll do some reverse grip stabs. It's still straight as an arrow at the tip. And I think we'll do this. We'll use this grip. Holding it like this at hip level. And you can see we got a decent group there. Okay. And I'm thinking I could do a thumbnail. Use this for the thumbnail. If I take a picture, I could use these for the thumbnail. We'll see what we'll do. Possibly I'll do that. Take a picture of these two knives, and if you can see this, and I can maybe use this in the thumbnail. We'll see what we'll do. Okay, so I think that's gonna be it. I'm happy with these two knives, Fiskars K40 knives, good knife fighting knives. And I would say that this is the better knife. If you're looking for a utility knife, for knife fighting, knife martial arts, I would recommend this one over this one. Why? Because of the handle. The ergonomics primarily, more so than the blade. As you can see, the handle guard is better on the K40, and it feels your hand better. It makes you able to stab things harder without grasping it as tightly, without holding it as tightly. Stabbing it, using it to stab. This handle is better to keep your hand from sliding down the blade. This is better. This is a better knife fighting knife than this is, in my view. As you can see, I'm holding like this. You can see how much the finger guard. It's easier for my finger to slide down over this than it is for it to slide down over this. So this is a better stop. This is a better stop finger guard from keeping your finger from sliding down, especially in the reverse grip with stabbing. And also in the reverse grip, this is better for a thumb rest than something hollow like this. That's why it felt better to hold it like this. Better ergonomics if you hold it like this and have your thumb here, but it doesn't feel very comfortable. This is a better knife fighting knife. As a guy who knows a lot about knife fighting, knife martial arts, and have a lot of experience using knives both in the carpenter role, like cutting wood and camping stuff and things like this, and also stabbing things and practicing knife martial arts, I can give a good opinion. My opinion is worth it. My opinion is holds weight, and my opinion is that this is a better knife fighting knife. This is a better. The K40 is better. If you're looking for a utility knife that you can also use as a knife fighting knife, the K40 is better. Okay, that's gonna be it. And take care of yourself out there. Two Fiskars knife. The Fiskars Builders Knife and the Fiskars K40. None of these are marketed as knife fighting knives, but both of them can be used as knife fighting knives. Let's do some knife fighting shadow boxing and then finish up. Why not? While we're at it, might as well get a workout. Do some knife fighting shadow boxing. Don't try this at home. I recommend that you start with hard plastic training knives and rubber knives when you train knife martial arts. And even if you practice a lot, you have a lot of experience, you still don't want to do it. But if you're gonna start out doing knife shadow boxing, you don't want to start using real steel knives to do knife shadow boxing until you used double hard plastic knives or rubber knives, and you practice a lot. You've done a lot of knife. You got a lot of hours in of knife fighting shadow boxing type activity, to where you notice that okay, you never get hit anymore. So if you start out, don't be surprised if you will pick up two rubber or hard plastic training knives and you start doing shadow boxing. If you sometimes feel yourself it's like, oh, I just cut myself. If that was a real knife, I would have cut myself in the arm, especially if you do things like this, for example. If you have hard plastic knives, you might notice the first time you try it, before you have some experience, that okay, sometimes I do this and end up cutting myself with this knife, doing this, for example. It's like, oh, I just cut myself with this knife. As I pull this back and throw the other one, I hit my own hand. And that's what you want to notice, that using hard plastic or rubber training knives, it's like, okay, sometimes when I use these to do knife shadow boxing, I end up hitting myself. If that would have been a real knife, I would have gotten cut or stabbed myself. So you want to practice that out in your system, train that out, so you don't have that anymore. And then you can start using knives like this. Okay, I'm going to do some knife fighting shadow boxing type of video. Down a little bit. Look what I'm doing. Return. Other one goes out. Return. Other one goes out. Return. And when it's here, it's ready to stab. See, just straight. If you're fighting somebody, I cut with this. This one stays here. Or if you have the guard up, but for this technique, this one stays here. Cut with the left. Return, and you can start throwing this one as you're returning, like this. Or you can do it like this. Cut, return. When you hit here, connect, then you launch the second one. So you can use that if you want to as a trigger. Like something I do sometimes. If I'm cutting like this, like you saw me do on the wood board, I was cutting like this from the hip, like this. Cutting from the hip, like this, on the wood board. I was stabbed like this at the wood boards before. This is what I was using. And then I use the hip as a trigger. So I cut. That's how I attack a lot of times when I'm training. I launch from here, and from here obviously you can launch a lot of ways. You can go up and cut like this, and uppercut with slashing out. This cutting out. Somebody's moving towards me, for example. Quickly cutting up, and if somebody's moving in, it's like the boxing uppercut. Sudden, like the boxing uppercut. Only I'm not hitting with my knuckles, I'm hitting with the blade, and suddenly, just like a boxing uppercut, only it's a knife, see? And it can also be turned into this. Cut up, let's say I miss, let's say there's a guy moving towards me, I intercept, so this is defensive, or even attacking, moving into him, like this, from the uppercut moving into him. If he pulls back, either steps back or his head, you miss, so you only hit air, you go up, quickly you can return it into a reverse whip stab. See what I'm saying? Let's say this is the guy here. He moves towards me, or I move towards him, do an uppercut, and he pulls back his head before I connect, or steps back, or whatever. Miss. Now I'm up here. Stab comes down. See? 1, 2. Even if you hit 2, 1, cut, return with a stab. Good. Maybe I should. I think I might make some more videos showing you knife fighting, knife martial arts techniques. I do believe I might be the best knife martial artist, self-trained, self-taught knife martial artist on YouTube. And I've invented some techniques, things I haven't seen anybody else do. Like this cut, for example. I've never seen anybody else do this guy. This. So instead of having this grip, to deliver stabs up, instead of the uppercut with reverse grip, cutting up. Some people might do this, hold it like this, stab like this, like an uppercut stab. See? And of course you can do different angles. You can do it straight, or you can do it like this. We're kind of aiming to go under the chin. But this I haven't seen anybody else do. But it came to me in training, like this. See? You're cutting like this, like a upside down hammer fist, you could say. So this would be a hammer fist. Hammer fist hitting with the bottom here. Only it's a reverse hammer fist, which if you were hitting with your hands, you wouldn't create a lot of force like this. First of all, you're working against gravity in a weird way, and your body doesn't generate a lot of power like this, and you will put force on your wrist if you connect with something. It's not wouldn't be a good attack for a fist fight necessarily. But if you have a knife in there, it's something that if you practice that, it's something not a lot of people see coming. They're not expecting that. If you hold a knife like this, people are expecting you to either do something like this, or this, or this, or even like this and going from the side, or like this. But this, not a lot of people see coming, especially if you're fast with it. See? And I came up with that. I didn't see that anywhere. I came up with that technique, this. Attack like this. And I actually had a hater before who, I guess he was butthurt because I gave him some construction criticism. Like I had somebody leave a comment on one of my training videos, and what irritated me was he was acting like he was trying to be my coach and tell me how to do things, even though I'm the best knife martial artist on YouTube, and I haven't seen anybody else move as fast as I do, and having the excellence in skill that I do, the level of skill that I have in knife fighting. And sure, if it was somebody who was like Grandmaster Filipino Eskrima martial arts, or somebody who he's won knife fighting championships or something, I might take his advice seriously. But some random anonymous person on YouTube with a sock puppet account, no profile picture, no name, no videos of himself doing anything, and then the guy was talking about it in the comments how he trained to get better at knife fighting was he would get a cardboard box and then stab cardboard box, which is an aspect. You can use that to get better at knife fighting, but you're not practicing. It's not all you want to do, because you're not practicing to stab cardboard if you practice knife martial arts. It's very different stabbing cardboard and stabbing human body. So if you practice same thing, you don't want to only do knife shadow boxing. If all I do is this and I'm attacking from all kinds of different angles, I'm an amateur, I'm a beginner, I start trying to get better at knife martial arts, and I start doing things, and I feel like, wow, I'm getting dangerous, good at knife fighting. I'm becoming dangerous dangerous knife fighter, and all you've been doing is stabbing cardboard, paper, and hitting the air. And then if you suddenly you will get in a fight, like, okay, somebody breaks into the house, you need to defend yourself, and you use your techniques, and unbeknownst to you, you haven't practiced the right way. You've been doing something wrong in getting muscle memory. You're not gripping the knife the right way, or you're not like tensing your wrist and tensing your grip before you impact or something, and you might notice that when you stab, the knife goes flying out of your hand. So that's just common sense. So what irritated me, it would be like if I go writing on Mike Tyson's Instagram page when he's hitting the bag, and I start giving him advice in boxing. Okay, I might call myself the best knife martial artist because I think I might be the best self-taught knife martial artist, self-taught, self-trained on YouTube. But I wouldn't call myself the best boxer. Okay, obviously. And I get so powerful punches and fast punches, and I could fend for myself in a boxing match. Sparring even with a pro, I think I could be a formidable opponent. But I'm not the best. okay? But it would be like if I go to Mike Tyson's Instagram page when he's hitting the bag and I say, dude, you should do this, you should throw your punch like this, you should do this, and like, who are you? Who are you commenting on my channel? And then the same guy who comes to tell me like, this is what you should be doing, Mike. And what also annoyed was he would come and write comments where he says, hey Mike, maybe you should try a technique where you do like a lunging stab. There is a technique, and I already had on my channel when he left the comment a knife and instruction where I'm teaching knife martial arts, okay? And in that video, I'm doing the long range stab and I'm explaining the technique. Like, okay, one way, if you stab like this, you're maxed out on range. One thing you can do to extend the range is to lean into it like this. And I was talking about the same thing that he comes to me to recommend. So it just looks like this guy believes that I know less than I do. He doesn't see my value. It's like a hater is in denial of success. It's like the person doesn't want to see that this guy is awesome at knife martial arts. And he wants to come and act like he needs to teach me things and the things that he tells me as advice are things that I've already done. The good things that he says are things that I've already done on my YouTube channel. And he looks like a troll, or things that are bad to do. So, well, just get some cardboard. And on my channel, I already had, when he wrote that comment, I already had videos cutting cardboard. Okay, just get some cardboard and start attacking that. I said, I've already done that. And then another comment. And maybe, Mike, maybe you should try practicing to do, there's something called like extending a lunging stab you can do. And if you would look at my past videos, not only have I done it in my videos, I have video teaching the technique and talking about it. So that's annoying to me. It'd be like me going to a boxing coach's YouTube channel and be like, hey, Mayweather Senior, when you throw the jab, maybe you should try stepping into your jab sometimes and then follow up with a right after you throw the jab. Maybe you should try throwing a couple of jabs and then you go with the right after, follow up with a right straight or something. And he'll be like, who's this guy? And he go looks at my YouTube channel, there's no videos of me throwing punches, okay? And then the other comments are like, well, how you should try to get better? Just get a pillow, fill it with cotton or toilet paper, and stop punching that. Don't use a punching bag. So how I train is better. Like I do things like this. Yeah. But that guy, he says he trains cardboard. So he gets cardboard, and that's how he trains to get better fighting. He gets cardboard, stabs it. Now this is very different from stabbing this. And if you were to stab somebody, a human, if you're practicing knife martial arts, you're not practicing to cut somebody, break into your house. And this is not the scenario I'm practicing for. Getting better knife martial arts to defend myself and my loved ones if someone breaks into my house. I'm not expecting them to come in and pick up empty cardboard boxes and like, oh, I'm here to steal your shit and kill your wife. And start throwing cardboard boxes. I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm gonna cut these cardboard boxes before they hit me. That's not what I'm practicing for. See? Yeah, okay. So haters, I use them as fuel. I start thinking about things that people said to annoy me, and it gives me fuel. Do some more. Do not try this at home. do the uppercut a little bit. This uppercut that I showed you before. Hit it from the hip, up like this. This is what I showed you. Cutting up, this is good to practice. Cutting up. Right after you cut up, deliver a stab. This combo, 1-2 combo. Uppercut, fall down with a stab. Cut, stab, cut, stab, cut, stab. And you can vary it. You can go like this, charge back, come in, or you can go up and then slam down with it. Let's do some more of that. I'll reposition the camera. You know what, I think that's gonna be it. And I'm gonna record some shorts now, training. I'm gonna upload some shorts, record some shorts. And I'll upload those, but this one is gonna go up first. All right, thank you for watching. I'm not pissed at you out there if you're not a hater. Sometimes I get off on rants. I use my haters as fuel. Sometimes I get my best workouts and trainings and points made when I respond and think about what some of my haters have said. All right, that's gonna be, I use my haters as fuel. That's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Shout out to, while I'm at it, shout out to Addicted to Blades 2, a man named John. He's got a channel called Addicted to Blades 2, and he gave me a shout in one of his videos, so I'm returning the favor. I made a video once doing a floating paper cut, and I got the idea by watching him, and I've had some people copying me before. Meaning they've seen my videos where I do something and they've never seen somebody else do this before. They start doing it and they're trying to pass it off with their own, like they came up with this idea. That annoys me. So when I wanted to try it myself, I made a point in the video that I got this idea by watching somebody else. And the guy I watched, his name is John, Addicted to Blades. And I've seen his video. A lot of what he does is cutting videos, and he has a katana, he has throwing weapons, he has videos where he throws throwing weapons, doing some of the things that I do. He stabs things, he hits things, he throws things, he cuts things, water jugs with katanas, practice things like this. And one of the things I saw him do in his video, I think it was a short video possibly, he has a katana sword and a paper, and the paper goes flying from the top. It's called a floating paper cut, and he cuts the paper mid-flight, which is not an easy thing to do. It takes some skill. And then after that, I felt inspired to try it myself, and I get a paper, and then I cut it with a knife, and I got inspired to try that after seeing John, and that's why I made the point of giving me a shout out. I got the idea. I saw John Addicted to Blades do this, and I wanted to try it. So here's the point. Shout out to him. Later, he did a shout out to me on his channel, on Addicted to Blades channel. He said, shout out to Mike's Martial Arts. He does a knife reviews and gave like a brief explanation, summary of some of the things I do on my channel, knife reviews and some knife martial arts stuff like this. So I'm returning the favor. I try to tag him. Some people can't be tagged. I notice I can't tag myself. If I make a video on one of my other channels and I'm going to tag at Mike's Martial Arts in the video title, it won't show up. I can't find it. If I start typing at Mike's Martial Arts, it doesn't give me the suggestion that I can click, oh, here's my channel, martial arts channel. I might have to change my name to get myself to become taggable. I tried tagging Addicted to Blades too, and it wouldn't let me tag. I typed in Addicted to Blades and nothing shows up, so I can't tag him at this moment. But shout out to Addicted to Blades too. He's got cutting videos, reviews, weapon reviews, not just knives but machetes, possibly knives, like katanas. He has cutting videos, he cuts water jugs and stuff, cuts all kinds of stuff, and he's skillful at cutting. He's skillful at it. He can do. He does some things that a low-level cutter couldn't accomplish. So yeah, shout out to Addicted Blades to returning the favor for his shout out. And I'm gonna finish this up and I'm gonna record some shorts videos as I have the wood boards over there. I started getting a little bit heated and impulsively working out. So I'm gonna record some shorts. So I'm gonna finish up this. I can't record shorts for this if I'm still live. So this turn out I was aiming for an hour, and I'll be live for 1 hour 20 minutes. So this is gonna be the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself and goodbye. I'm Mike Sion. This is the Mike's Martial Arts YouTube channel.